Really excited to get this guy in. He took some time out of his extremely busy schedule leading up to draft day. Dane Brugler, NFL draft expert from The Athletic, joining me here on Locked On Cardinals. Man, thank you so much for taking some time. Hold on, let me see if I can get this right. 399 scouting reports and rankings of 1,698 players. Is that about right? Is that about what's encapsulated your life over the last year?
I was being lazy and I couldn't get to the 400. And so, and I mean, I basically cranked these out until I'm like, all right, I gotta publish this. And so it just ended up being 399, but I appreciate that. And the draft guide is something that is a year in the making. It takes a full year, and all the background info, all the little nuggets and tidbits in there. It's something that I think to understand where these guys are headed, it's important to know where they've been, and to just every little thing, every piece of information is a puzzle piece. The more puzzle pieces you have to put together, the more clear picture you have of who these guys are going to be. And I think the draft guide, that's the whole goal of the draft guide, is to best present these players for what they are and what they could be.
The beast. And you didn't even come up with that. That was going to be my first question. I got a list of questions I'm going to ask you. I read your blurb that came out on The Athletic before subscribe to The Athletic, obviously. He can't remember who named it the beast. And you maybe took a little offense to it initially? Or
not offense, but I'm not, it sounded a little self-serving, like cartoonish. Like I don't know. I wasn't interested in naming it some creative name. But I don't know. I don't remember who started calling it that. But after a few years, I kind of finally relented and said, all right, I use it as a motivational tool. If we're going to name this thing the Beast, it better live up to it. And so that means, pushing myself to make sure to raise the bar every single year and to make it better and better. So make sure people are coming back. And the best compliment I can receive is the people that, hey, this is the 10th year I've been getting it, or things like, okay, I must be doing something right if you're coming back 10 years in a row now. So that's great to hear.
That's for damn sure. Dane Brugler at DP Brugler on Twitter. Follow him, draft expert for The Athletic. So let's pivot here to the Cardinals at 23. Steve Keim in my camp has been somewhat maligned over the last handful of years with the choices he's made at 8 and 16 overall the last couple of years. Isaiah Simmons was, I always go back to the NCAA football video game where you're recruiting and you recruit athletes, ATH. Like, he didn't have a position because of where he played at Clemson. And it seemed like Vance Joseph et al. Didn't really know how to utilize him his rookie year. He showed flashes last year, but he's never jumped to that level that we thought maybe he would be at 8. And all the while, Tristan Wirfs, CeeDee Lamb, etc., went elsewhere. Last year, Greg Newsome was a guy that I really like. Caleb Farley, even though he had his injury in college, they decided to go Zaven Collins, linebacker again. This year, I am pounding the table for one young man, Zion Johnson, guard out of Boston College. I feel like he would solidify the left side of the offensive line for Kyler Murray. And although their wide receiving core isn't as good as it should be at this point in the offseason, I'm still sticking to my guns. Tell me why I'm right, tell me why I'm wrong, or tell me why it's a little bit in the middle.
No, I mean, I really would not disagree with you in terms of Zion Johnson, the player, and what he would mean for that Cardinals offensive line. I'm a big fan of Zion Johnson. I think there's a good chance he will be the first interior offensive lineman drafted here in a week. Love his story is great. He's a golfer, for most of his life. Tries football as a junior in high school, really doesn't take it seriously until his senior year, goes to Davidson at the FCS level, part of a triple option offense there, transfers up, bets on himself, goes to Boston College. The last 3 years, he's been fantastic. I think that when you look at, for an offensive lineman, he just checks so many boxes. 6'3", 315, 34-inch arms, these huge bear claw hands, tested above average in terms of the athletic testing, which matches the tape, strong at the point of attack. At the Senior Bowl, showed he could play center. And when you talk to this guy, Zion Johnson, just kind of, you walk away saying, wow, that's an impressive young man. There's no other response. He is just a really smart guy. He's really engaging, really fun to talk to, really thoughtful with the way he converses and answers your questions, things like that. So if you're looking for a guy that's plug and play, that's got the experience, has the versatility, I love his play strength, love his muscle twitch, his reflexes. I'm on Team Zion Johnson as well. So if the Patriots still take him at 21, I think the Cowboys are definitely interested at 24. But yeah, in my opinion, if the Cardinals, at the direction the Cardinals went at 23, they would not receive any negativity from me for that selection.
Dane Brugler, DP Brugler on Twitter. I equate it to the Cardinals eating their vegetables, which is something they haven't done over the last 2 years. They went, and Isaiah Simmons, it's not either him or Zaven Collins' fault that they were drafted. And people give them crap for maybe it not being the exact right time and right team for them to be drafted. It's not their fault. And even though the Cardinals probably should draft a receiver at 23 because they haven't eaten what's important to them on the offensive line, it's kind of a necessary evil. Now, pivoting to the wide receivers, over the last 3 years, we've seen things that we hadn't seen in a long time before, from young wide receivers making impacts immediately, Justin Jefferson, etc. But for every Justin Jefferson, there's a John Ross and Denzel Mims. And that's still going to be the case. Now, my question to you pivoting towards this is seeing Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams and all these guys getting monster deals like early 2000s quarterback contract numbers. Now, is that forcing the hand of GMs and front offices to say, you know what? If this is the guy that we think, even though we have needs elsewhere, could save yourself a whole lot of cheese for 3 years by drafting a wide receiver? Or are these receivers just that good this early?
Yeah, no, I think these are the conversations that teams are having. There's no doubt about it. Wide receiver is now the highest, the most expensive position outside of quarterback in the NFL. In terms of, if you take the contracts of the top 10 players at their positions, wide receiver is second only to quarterback. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. I think to counteract that, you're looking towards the draft. But I also think this is a draft that is strong at the top, is very top heavy in terms of wide receiver talent. I think there is talent second round, third round. Then I think there's a little bit of drop off. But the first round, we're going to see as many as 5 or 6, maybe even 7 or 8 wide receivers go. Just and a big part of that is what you mentioned in your question, how the contracts being handed out are something that could be detrimental down the road. But when you can get a guy like Garrett Wilson on a rookie deal for that type of money, a Chris Olave, a Treylon Burks, a Drake London, Jamison Williams, Jahan Dotson has a chance to go first round. You could wait till the second round and get if a George Pickens is there, or a Sky Moore, or a Christian Watson. So it's something that's going to be really interesting in this wide receiver class, because this wide receiver class at the top 50 has something for everybody. It's not just speed, it's not just size, it's not just skill. It is, depending on what you want, this draft has something for you at the receiver position. So it would be interesting if the Cardinals want to go that direction in the first round. Where do they lean? Do they lean speed, which we know they have, with a guy like Rondale Moore, or do they want to go more with skill? A guy that's more like a DeAndre Hopkins, who has might not be the fastest 40-yard dash, but has the skill level that you're looking at the position. Are they looking for more of a complement to that? So there's so many different directions they could go if they wanted to go wide receiver, because this draft has so many options, depending on who goes top 20 and who would fall to them there at 23.
Yeah, one last question here. Dan Brugler from The Athletic. Breece Hall, how good is he? And how high can he go? Because I've looked at, we're starting to see when you do the fun mock drafts, Draft Network or Pro Football Focus, like the ones that it's mindless, you just get to pick and pick. I'm starting to see Zion Johnson go to Philly a lot at 16 or 17, wherever they draft, a lot earlier than where it was, a month ago. Seeing Breece Hall go a little bit higher than late second round, which is what we saw initially. A lot of the draft pundits that I trust, including people see Breece Hall as a cream of the crop running back coming out of the draft. How could he be a first round guy?
It's possible. I mean, me personally, I saw a second round player. The testing numbers, they were outstanding, but you don't watch the tape and are blown away by his speed. I don't think, Breece Hall's a good player, but if you're listing what you love about him based on the tape, speed's not exactly something that's, that's a difference maker. It's something that will stress the defense. No, it's, you talk about his patience, his vision, now his balance, which are all outstanding, and why Breece Hall is going to be a very good NFL player. So I think the testing numbers maybe are inflating Breece Hall a little bit. So I think that's part of it. But with Breece Hall, you also love that he's an any down player. I mean, he had 82 total catches over the last 3 years. He can get better in pass protection, but at least you have a guy that is, he's willing. He's not going to back down from that. So personally, I like Kenneth Walker as the best running back in this class. But Breece Hall, there's a chance that he goes first round. Just as teams look at it and say, okay, is he going to help our offense immediately? Yes. Could he be that missing piece? Sure. And last year we saw, Najee Harris go in that same range. And I would argue Breece Hall, he might be better than a Najee Harris. So it's at least someone that's going to be in the conversation, even if it's not a consensus that he's going to go first round, or even that he's the top running back this year.
399 scouting reports, 1,698 players ranked. It's the Beast 2022 NFL Draft Guide on The Athletic. He is the author. Dude, you're doing great work, man. At DP Brugler, Dane Brugler on Twitter from The Athletic. Really appreciate you taking some time. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Thanks, Alex.
All right, it's going to do it. Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy. I will talk to you tomorrow.